Thank you for attending our trainings. I know it's the summer and everything is tiring. It's the end of the day. Thanks to Xcitium, especially Ryan Murphy, for supporting our region and providing such training. The topic of today is what's behind the major disruption that Xcitium is bringing to the industry. And we needed that message to be clear and to be understood by our resellers and partners and even customers in the region. Because what Xcitium does, no one else can do it today. I don't know if like 12 months down the road, someone will come up with something like that. But today, no one else has it. Zero threat plus real-time security by innovation. And when you top it with the great services they provide, such as MDR and XDR, that's full peace of mind. So we wanted everyone to learn more about what Xcitium patents, zero-threat technology, zero-dwell containment, zero-dwell time, where dwell time is absolutely zero. You don't need to wait to detect a malware. You just wipe it out the moment it tries to cause harm to you. So it's going to be a fun training today. I'm pretty sure you will enjoy it. So to you, Ryan, let's proceed.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you for the introduction. Hello, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. Let me get my slideshow here. I don't usually use Zoom too much, so hopefully everyone can see my screen.
I can see it.
Perfect. Uh-oh. There we go.
And guys, keep it interactive. If you want to ask questions in the Q&A, my colleague Nadir will take care of those questions and he'll ask Ryan Murphy. And even if you want to even talk, we'll be happy to give you the option to talk to Ryan directly. So whenever you just let's keep it interactive to get the best out of his knowledge and experience.
Perfect. Thank you, Mo. All right, everybody. So today, just really what we want to talk about is just kind of what makes, us different, right? Because, the title of the meeting is, how we're trying to disrupt the market, right? Because the first thing I like to talk about is just really what just makes us different. And the difference is that we're the only company in the world that doesn't have to rely on detection as a first step in protecting you guys. And so I kind of want to tell you guys a story, kind of walk you guys through kind of, what you see today in traditional endpoint protection, and then kind of how we do it a little bit differently. Okay. So the first thing I'd like to show is just, let's talk about, because, as Mode has probably told you guys 100 times, because it's the truth, is that every 11 seconds, a successful ransomware attack happens, right? But again, it doesn't matter, throughout the world, if you have, Sentinel-1, the CrowdStrikes, the Bitdefenders, the Sophos of the world, the Kasperskys, they're obviously all great at what they do. But every day, every month, you see some of these massive organizations get hit with ransomware. And so let's talk about kind of how that happens. So in this example here, it's obviously a very shortened example of kind of traditional endpoint security, but we don't have to be here for 2 hours, right? So the first thing I want to talk about is just how does it happen? So for today's argument's sake, let's take a 0-day malicious file, and one of your end users or an end user clicks on that malicious file, right? So there's no signature for it. It's truly unknown. Okay. So the first step, as we see here, is that obviously already some points of detection have already failed because the file is already on the endpoint itself, right? Or whether it's coming from a phishing email or whatever it might have been. The secure email gateway is, failing in some way, or it's, it's slipping in. These bad actors are very smart. So the first thing that happens, obviously, is that unknown user clicks on that file, unknowingly thinking that it's a legitimate file or executable or application, whatever it might be. And now that they've executed the file, the malware is now, trying to cause damage and wreak havoc. But obviously we have a few layers of security in the way there to try to mitigate the risk and stop the damage from happening in the first place. And usually that first is that true antivirus lookup, right? We ask the file lookup system, say, hey, when you execute that file, we ask it one simple question. Do we know who you are, right? And it's a simple response. It's yes or no. Now, if the antivirus says, yes, I know exactly what this is, it goes down one other path. Is it good or is it bad? If it's good, we allow it to run. If it's bad, we block it, right? But what happens to the big competitors in the space whenever they say, no, I don't know what it is? What happens? Well, unfortunately, they still allow it to run because they don't know if it's good or bad, and they don't want to stop that file or application from running to it could hinder your productivity of your end users, right? So that's why they allow it to run. Now, obviously, throughout the years, there's been multiple layers of security. One of the biggest and the hottest commodities today is the AI and the machine learning. So even though AI and machine learning is incredibly intelligent and it's one of the top security products that's kind of rising to the top nowadays, it only knows what it knows. It only knows what it's seen before. How is AI machine learning supposed to determine whether that executable in real time is good or bad? And the answer is it can't, because it truly is just another form of detection, right? It can't know if it's good or bad until it's seen something similar to it before. And then, at the end of the day, the file is still going to it's going to execute and it's going to infect the network. And this is where this is where some of our competitors do pretty well, right? They have a really good, detection and response aspect to their company, right? But the problem is that even though they can be as quick as you possibly can imagine to reacting to that damage, because now that there's causing damage, now they know that it's malicious. And so at this point, now they're going straight into remediation. What can they do? Are they isolating the machine, cutting it off from the network, trying to stop and mitigate the risk, and then go strictly into remediation and trying to save the machine and just roll back in some cases to before that malware was executed. And obviously these are good tactics, and those are tactics that we've been okay with throughout the years because it's been the industry norm, right? We've all, we don't ever want damage to happen, but we know that there's always an opportunity that it could happen, right? That's why we try to employ the best security products in the space, and we make those educated decisions. But at the end of the day, for the other competitors in the space, one of their customers has to truly be that patient zero, right? One of them has to see that damage on that unknown for them to have that signature, have that those indicators and those known algorithms of whether it's a known good or a known bad. And we just kind of think that's the wrong way to look at things. So we kind of taken a different approach. And that approach is what we call our zero dwell containment. This is a patented technology by Xcitium. We have over 27 patents in the space. No one in the world is really doing anything close to what we're doing today. And the reason is because we've patented the heck out of it, and no one else can do what we're doing today. So let's take that same exact file, right? That 0-day malicious unknown file or executable, and let's see how it works in the Xcitium environment. As you can see, the first step is still the file's on the endpoint, because I'm not claiming that we are any better at detection than any of our competitors, right? We all pretty much are right about on the same level with our detection. It's that 95, 97% detectability on, kind of what's coming in and out of the endpoint. But the difference is that small percent of those unknowns that get in that, our competitors don't really know what to do with, right? So I'm not trying to say that we're any better at detection, because that's, that's the problem, is detection itself. So what we're doing instead is that when we execute that file, we ask that same question of the file lookup system. Do we know what you are? If it's yes, again, is it good or bad? If it's good, we allow it to run. If it's bad, we block it. But the difference here is when it says no. When it says no, and we say, we don't know what this is, zero dwell containment instantly engages. And we pretty much just reroute all those API calls into a lightweight virtual container local on the endpoint, right? And so what we're doing is we're just giving it a safe place to run. But the big difference between us and some of the other competitors is that we're actually going to give you accessibility to that file. So it's kind of that default deny protection with the default allow accessibility, right? So what we're doing is anything unknown is going to go inside this containment. And we just, like I said, we pretty much we give that unknown file VR goggles to wear while it's inside there. So it thinks that it's, doing what it's supposed to do. And the reason why it thinks that it's doing what it's supposed to do is because we give it the access that it needs. We give it fake read-write access to the registry, the COM interface, and the hard drive, right? That's the true air, food, and water that malware needs to thrive. Without the ability to write and encrypt, malware is useless, right? And so in this case, we just allow the malware to run in that safe space local on the endpoint. And we just let our other reactive technologies like our EDR and our AI machine learning kind of look through that window to kind of see what's that malicious file trying to do, right? And while that file is running, again, since you're able to access it, so you're not going to lose any of that accessibility, that your end users are still going to be, whether it turns out to be good or bad, you don't have to worry about, your users not be able to do their day-to-day activities. So while it's inside of containment, and we get any of those malicious activities, obviously we're going to flag that as something that's malicious or bad. Now, in most cases, guys, just because something is unknown does not mean that it's dangerous. And that's, again, why it's so important that we give the end users that accessibility to that file, even while it's in containment, because we're protecting you and not hindering that productivity. And by our studies and statistics, about 98% of the unknowns that come out turn out to be benign. But again, it's that small 1, 2, 3% of those unknowns that turn out to be malicious. And that's where we really thrive and are able to give you that full protection that no one else can. And then once that file has been verdicted, we just give it a rating, right? If it's trusted or malicious. If it's trusted, we allow it to go play. And it will never need to be contained again for any of your end users or any of our customers. And now, again, the same on the opposite side. If it turns out to be malicious, we deem it malicious, and then it will just be added to that known blacklist, right? So next time you try to execute it, it just blocks right away. There's no need for containment. And the great part about all these things, guys, and I know some of you guys have heard of us, and a lot of the verbiage that I'm saying is, containment, safe space. The first word that usually pops in your head is, well, isn't this a sandbox, Ryan? Right? And that's one of sometimes the first thing that pops into our mind is this a sandbox? And the answer is kind of, but not really. And the reason is because a lot of modern companies aren't using sandbox technology because of a few reasons. First, it's extremely resource intensive, right? It takes up tons of your CPU usage because it's duplicating almost a whole hypervisor VM almost, right? Second, you have to have internet connectivity for it to work in the first place, right? So say you're on a plane, you're not going to be, you're truly not going to be protected if it's a true 0-day file. The third is that true sandbox environments, again, usually a lot of those sandbox environments, you have to reroute that file to a safe space or another supercomputer per se sometimes, right? And all of those things, we have solved those problems. Again, since we're lightweight and local on the endpoint, we're only duplicating those 3 main components that malware needs to thrive. It's incredibly lightweight. We're in most cases 1 to 3% CPU usage. And that's on the older system. That's like on Windows XP. And today's more modern systems, Windows 10, Windows 11, we're barely getting to 1% even in the containment process. Most time, whenever something is in containment, and it does turn out to be malicious, it's not really the Xcitium agent. It's usually the malware that's trying to do all those nasty things in the background, right? But again, even though the malware is able to run, it's protected because it's in that safe space. It's not actually harming any of your actual files. And then I think one of the greatest thing for us is, again, since we're local on each of the endpoints, we can protect you whether you're connected to the internet or not, right? So say you're on a plane, you're working, before you left the office, you clicked on a file or you downloaded a file and it's on your endpoint, and you're trying to get some work done on the plane like a good employee that we all know you are. And unknowingly, again, execute some malicious file. We're still going to be able to protect you because, again, if we can't make that call or in that local repository, if we don't know if it's good or bad, we're just going to contain it. And again, you'll be able to just work in that environment as long as you'd like to. And then if it turns out to be benign, once you connect back to the internet, we'll release that file. And once if it does turn out to be malicious, it would get, deemed malicious, and we'll block it in the future. But again, at the end of the day, our job is to protect you. And that's exactly what the zero-dwell containment does. So real quick, I just want to look at a couple of the questions here. I just answered that one. How resource intensive is that feature which contains the potentially malicious file? Like I said, so it is very, very lightweight. In most cases, it's less than 1%. In extreme cases, less than 3%. So let me continue here. Have to minimize all these again. Okay. So now I really kind of just want to show you guys where we sit at in the stack, right? Because as you guys know, there's so many layers of security nowadays. Everyone tries to put their own flavor on it per se. But in this case, guys, this is kind of where we sit, as you can see, at execution. So obviously we have all those nice pre-execution tools like your antivirus, your next-gen AV, your host intrusion prevention system, that HIPS, the firewall, all the things, even just the patch management up front, right? And then you have your post-execution tools like your EDRs, your XDR, MDRs, all the DRs you can think of. that malware analysis, AI, machine learning, and even the human aspect, right? Those are all those post-execution tools. Those are the reactionary tools, but the post-execution, those are the ones that we see all the time. Those are the ones that we pay for, the EDRs and the MDRs, the XDRs of the world. But we are one of the only companies in the world that can protect you at execution, right? And we can stop all of the damage from those unknowns. So now I'm going to slow down a little bit here, but I want to kind of talk about some of our packages, guys, and kind of, really how do we market this? Because a lot of our competitors in the space, it gets a little complicated. I feel like in a lot of cases, they try to nickel and dime you with all the things that's included, right? You start with the basic package and there's a slew of add-ons. For us, we just have 4 main packages and we keep it very, very simple. The first package that we have is just called that Xcitium Essentials, right? So this is just the containment piece itself. So right now, I think we're currently compatible with about 12 different vendors, starting, obviously all the big guys, the CrowdStrikes, the Bitdefenders, the SentinelOnes of the world, Sophos. So say you have a customer that's hesitant to switch from their provider, or they're in the middle of a contract, or they're having budgetary restraints. We've all seen that, right? We're all in sales, and we've all been that IT manager before. We understand that sometimes there's just things that are out of your hands. So that's exactly kind of what this Xcitium Essentials is. It's kind of that door opener for our partners and our customers. It's just that layering piece. It's you just take that containment and you can layer it on top of your current vendor. And then, whatever your current vendor misses, we'll catch inside that containment. And so it's a great kind of foot in the door offering. Now, obviously, what I would prefer is that we just do a full true rip and replace, right? And that's that Xcitium Advanced. And this is everything that's included in this package, guys. I promise with any of our competitors, no one can compete with us with the amount of value that we put inside this package. So let me just kind of list off a few things that are included inside the Xcitium Advanced. So first things first, you have obviously your antivirus. You have our software-based firewall. You have your, of course, we have our zero dwell containment. We have our host intrusion prevention system. You're having some AI and machine learning, our cloud verdicting system. You're getting some DLP monitoring tools. You're getting some website filtering a little bit, some URL filtering, right? Obviously, you're getting EDR, which everyone needs for their cyber insurance nowadays, right? And then that's just some of the features of just the security side. Now we also give you some nice freebies in there that everyone else charges for or just doesn't offer in the first place. So on that endpoint manager side, inside of our Xcitium portal, you're going to get patch management, a ticketing system, and patch management and in the RMM tool, right? So that's something powerful. Everyone needs an RMM tool in space, and the great thing is ours is very powerful and it's embedded inside the platform. Very easy to use for those actual true managers of IT, right? These are all things that companies have to have in the first place, right? And that's something that we just include in the package. Let me see. I just want to pull up. I think again, I'm not used to the Zoom thing here. Oops. I kind of lost my questions there, Mode. If there's any questions I need to ask, just feel free to interrupt me, okay? But the next thing, and this is, I think, is where we really are disrupting the market, guys, is the Xcitium Managed and the Xcitium Complete. So with the Xcitium Managed, guys, it comes with everything inside that Xcitium Advanced. And so all those layers of security, all those nice free tools, the EDR, the AV licenses, but now we're adding that 24/7, 365 SOC aspect to it, right? But the big difference is, guys, and I imagine a lot of you guys as partners of Disalogics and Xcitium, you guys have seen that the main problem with MDR is everybody wants it, but not everyone can have it. And the main reason being price, right? MDR is it's incredibly expensive from our competitors, right? Sometimes I just like to pick on CrowdStrike a little because they're CrowdStrike and they're the big boy in the room, right? But the big difference is that from every company in the world, they require some sort of incident response retainer or paid hours for any type of remediation. And to me, that just sounds a little backwards, right? You're signing with a company because they're trying to tell you that they're the best and they can protect you the best, right? But then you want to get their best and one of their most expensive services. But then obviously you're going to have to pay a lot extra for that service on the license side. But then they make you prepay for incident response. And to me, that just sounds a little backwards, right? If you're so good and you're one of the best in the business, why am I having to prepay for your failure? And that's one of the biggest questions that you have to ask some of the providers out there, ask your customers is, are you okay with prepaying for for their failure? They're profiting off their own failure. I just think that's the wrong way to do it. So we're completely changing that stigma. So for us, with any of our MDR packages, you're getting incident response included, unlimited. If we fail at protecting you, we're going to fix it for you for free, right? Now, and we also don't require a retainer. We're not going to make you prepay. And guys, keep in mind, some of us may not be aware of some of those incident response retainers, but think about this: from a CrowdStrike, their minimum incident response retainer is $40,000, and that is wild, right? Or they try to discount it and make it, as pretty as they can. They put a nice bow on top for you, but in a lot of those cases, guys, it just doesn't make sense. But the problem is it's the industry norm. It happens every day, and people are okay with it because that's just how things are. And we just think that that's wrong. And because think about that, guys. Think about some of your customers or your colleagues or the people that you're trying to get in touch with. $40,000 for an SMB or mid-market customer, that's their whole budget for multiple years in some cases, right? So MDR is not even on the table. So then they have to rely on these discounted products or lower end products that don't give you that full slew of protection that you deserve. And so that's where we're really trying to change that stigma. But the difference is, guys, too, is that our zero dwell containment does so much of the heavy lifting that our SOC team can actually do the things that we promise and that every other MDR vendor promises. We help you with the incident response. Like they actually do the proactive threat hunting, right? They're looking for vulnerabilities inside your environment to help strengthen your security posture so that there is literally no chance for any type of vulnerabilities, right? We're able to, like I said, with the proactive threat hunting, we're able to do that because inside of our portal itself, we have those high fidelity alerts, right? Because guys, in one of our demo environments that we show, just something that we test our demos on for our customers is in 3 months' time, we see like 59 million alerts. And we're expecting SMB and mid-market businesses to manage that many alerts. It makes it incredibly hard. And you can have all the time in the day, and you're just never going to be able to, handle all those alerts themselves, right? And so for us, it's as simple as just sliding a bar inside our portal from that 1 to 10 rating, right? 1 to 5 is going to be all your benign, false positive, just normal process alerts, right? But that's 90 to 97% of the alerts that you're getting, right? And a lot of organizations are having to sift through all of that data. For us, if you just want to look at those high fidelity alerts, you just slide that bar over to the 6 through 10. You can see the ones that are of higher severity. But the great thing is that it could be the nastiest stuff in the world. But at the end of the day, even if it was unknown, that zero dwell containment is going to catch that unknown and stop the damage from it. And then we're going to just be able to learn so much more about it with our post-execution tools like EDR. And then even if you have the managed services, you're getting our SOC team aspect to give you some insight on what we saw, what it was trying to do, where it came from, how it got in the first place, and give you the good news of, hey, there was an attempt, but it failed because the containment caught it, right? I see a couple questions coming in here, so let me look.
Yeah, there's one from Amiji. He would ask if which of these products is suitable for threat management.
So that's threat management. So I mean, that's kind of it's a fun question, right? Because true threat management itself, this is a conversation I kind of had with Mode earlier, is that sometimes we have to think about it from a different perspective, right? So many of the people that we talk to every day, because of the stigma of the industry norm of, oh, how do we, SOAR? How do we react? Or what about all the reports? What about this and that? You guys, the difference is that with us, I understand that it's something niche and it's something new, but we have to, with this zero dwell containment, we have to kind of change that vision on threats themselves, right? Because if it's been seen before, obviously antivirus does all the heavy lifting, right? We're blocking all those threats to begin with. And the unknowns, that's the great part about us, is that we're capturing and rerouting those all into a safe space until we know it's safe. It's that true guilty until proven innocent. So in that question itself, for us, it's that even if there is something dangerous or something truly malicious that's trying to hurt you, the containment is going to catch it and protect you, right? It's something that's just a little, it's just a little bit different, a little bit flavor, right? It's that Xcitium flavor per se. And so the threat management itself, we're kind of doing research kind of after the fact, right? We're able to go in and say, oh, look, this is what happened inside my organization. This is one of my end users clicked on this phishing email, and even though they're like they're one of those, we all know that guy that works with us that clicks on every email, clicks on every link, no matter what, even if he's had all the cyber training in the world, right? The phishing training. We're always going to have that one guy, right? And it's just nice to see that this is kind of that set it and forget it solution to where no matter what we click on, Xcitium containment is going to be able to protect you in the long run because of that containment process. It's just we're just using kernel filtering. We're allowing that file to run, but it's running in a safe place where it can't do any true damage, right? And sometimes that's the fun thing is sometimes it still can give you a heart attack, because the only difference is that anything in containment will have a nice little green border around it. And if even in our demos that we do, you even see the ransom note pop up, right? And it's still nice in that nice green box, and it's kind of like a haha, you tried, but you weren't successful today. So hopefully that kind of answers your question there. But the biggest part is, I want to kind of finish answering that, is even after the fact, I think the great thing is that with those reporting and inside the platform as well, especially with those managed services with our SOC team, they're going to give you full detailed reports on all the threats that have come in and the vulnerabilities. And that's what they work on. That's what they're able to do, because they don't have to worry about all the remediation and the fixing after the fact, right? They're able to be in there, help you be proactive, to just give you the best peace of mind. Because all of us know, as the IT managers of the world, they go to bed at night with a little bit of doubt, like, what's going to happen when I go to sleep tonight, right? What happens if an attack happens at 4 o'clock in the morning? I'm not able to react, and they now have a 5-hour head start on me, right? That's the great thing, is that the containment catches all of those unknowns, and that's where most of the malicious attacks come from, right? That's why we think, guys, and sometimes in this case, I like to show this website, and maybe I'll have Mode send it to you guys after the fact, but I like to share this website. It's a forum called Firewall Times. And it actually shows, it's just a blog, it's a forum post from one of my a cyber buddy in the space, and he posts about every big incident in the United States. Obviously, we're here in Africa and the UAE and just the EMEA region, but it's companies that you see like Amazon, Pepsi, Verizon, T-Mobile, even the United States State Department, like 6 weeks ago in the middle of July or the beginning of July. All of these massive organizations, they have everything going for them, right? They have all the budget, they have the best people, they have what they think is the best technology. They have no budget restrictions in protecting their intellectual, their IP per se, right? That all that super special property that makes them different. But why do they continue to get breached, guys? It's because they're all relying on detection. And we all know detection is not 100%. So I challenge you guys that sometimes whenever you're talking to some customers, is just ask them the simple question. First, say, hey, I think we can both agree 100% detection doesn't exist, right? That's a non-negotiable, because if they say 100% detection does exist, that's just not the case. We see breaches happen every day from with every one of our competitors being the victim, right? And then that next question is, okay, since you agree that 100% detection doesn't exist, my next question to you is, what is your current process for when your vendor fails at detection, right? And that is a very powerful question, because I don't like to, in some cases, like find out who their vendor is and just start, trying to degrade what they have, because in most cases, the person that you're talking to is the champion that brought that software to the company, right? So sometimes it gets a little defensive, and it's not the best way to start that relationship, right? So instead, just ask them those two questions. Hey, does 100% detection exist? No. So what's your current process for when your current vendor fails in detection? And then just be quiet and let them speak, right? And they're going to give you a slew of answers. I've seen and heard them all, such as, oh, that's why I have CrowdStrike. Oh, that's why I have EDR. That's why I have backup. That's why I have AI and machine learning, right? Let me just break all those down for you. Oh, you have CrowdStrike. All of CrowdStrike's layers of security are detection based. So since they're all based on detection, and we know 100% detection doesn't exist, that means there's always going to be a vulnerability. Oh, you have EDR. Well, great. Everyone should have EDR. That's the storyteller, right? But EDR doesn't offer any true protection. It is a reactionary tool. It is in the name, endpoint detection and response. It's the core of the problem. It's a detection-based tool, right? Obviously, you can set up remediation, but remediation means that there had to have been damage. So again, it's already failing. Oh, you have AI and machine learning. It's the same problem I said earlier. Those are obviously great tools and they help, but they're still based on detection. They're looking for those known bad signatures and algorithms and indicators. But again, if it's relying on detection, that means it's not 100%. And the last one sometimes I hear and I chuckle and it kind of makes me a little nervous sometimes is, well, Ryan, that's why I have backup, right? Well, everyone should have backup, but backup's for whenever your building is on fire and you need to kind of get back up and running, right? If we're at the point of what we're having to rely on backup, that's the wrong way to look at it, right? That's supposed to be, that's not protection, right? That's just, you're just backing up, and everything that you're backing up per se has probably already been encrypted and stolen, and they're going to put it on the dark web. So everything that you're backing up is already been stolen. So what is the true purpose of that? Obviously, it helps you get back up and running, but the difference is that every single layer of protection is reliant on detection. And so that zero dwell containment is what we like to call that detectionless protection, right? For when detection fails, the zero dwell containment catches everything else. Now, hopefully that answers your questions, my friend. I know I kind of went on a little rant there, so I apologize. My next one, this is the all the bells and whistles, right? That Xcitium Complete, right? So it comes with everything inside the Xcitium Advanced, everything with the Xcitium Managed, but now we're giving you that extended detection and response, right? So now we're giving you that networking cloud sensor. We're getting those IDS sensors, and we're giving you the sensors to be able to ingest from AWS, Azure, other SIMs per se, right? We can ingest all those logs and to have a better view and understanding of your true environment. But again, as you guys know, these services are so expensive in most cases, right? I mean, it's obviously our most expensive product, but when it comes into, we're in some cases a third or half of the price of some of our competitors in the space. And also we don't require those retainers or those incident response hours. That's where we can really disrupt the market per se, right? It's because now we're opening up MDR and XDR to the masses. We're making XDR and MDR available to the SMB and mid-market customer, right? And kind of go back to what I was saying earlier. Sometimes when I talk about these massive organizations that have everything going for them, right? They're doing everything right. They have all this money to invest in protecting themselves, and they still get breached. Sometimes the SMB and mid-market customer will say, of course they go after Apple. Of course they go after Amazon. They have billions of dollars. Well, if those guys can beat those companies and their security products, it would take them minutes, seconds to breach the little guys, because those guys have everything not going for them. They don't have the budget. They have a 1 or 2 person IT team, right? They have the more affordable products because that's what's inside their budget, right? And that's where we kind of think that's truly unfair. So that's why we're able to, because of that zero dwell containment, we don't have to pay for all those, have a whole multitude of SOC analysts. We have a nice team that manages a couple million endpoints that we currently protect, right, for our 5,000 customers. And they're able to be more effective because that zero dwell containment does so much of the heavy lifting. And that's what truly makes us different, right? And I think the great things that comes with that Xcitium Complete is that it truly is like we really try to stay on our lane, guys. We are an endpoint protection company, and that's what we thrive at. We don't pretend to be something that we're not. And we try to help our customers and our partners educate their customers about kind of how we're different and how to win some more of those conversations, guys, because I understand that it's hard, especially in our regions, to kind of be first, right? It's really easy for a lot of our competitors or a lot of our, I'm sorry, not competitors, our partners and our customers to go with the big guy, right? Because I think me and Mode were talking earlier, it's no one's gonna get in trouble for signing an IBM, right? But sometimes people don't want to be the first, right, to try something new. But the difference is, guys, is you have to ask that question: is taking the safe route, is it the safe route, right? Just because you're going with the known guy or the common guy in your territory, me and Mode can show you tons of examples of companies being breached from every level of every organization all in the last year. But you can't find any of it Xcitium because since 2018, since the release of our zero dwell containment, none of our customers have ever been breached or had to pay a ransom when properly configured. All we ask is that you just let our professional services team deploy it for you and you're protected, right? And that's where we're able to, especially from the managed side, guys, we're able to hold your hand as much as you want, or we'll implement and we'll go away till you need us. Whatever you prefer. We can be as hands-on as you want or as distant as you want. And that's I think the great thing about us. And also from the managed services themselves, you have those that nice rules of engagement. Do you want us to act on your behalf, or do you want us to notify you and call you all 35 people that we have in our system because, hey, we saw someone was trying to attempt, there was no damage, but hey, someone was trying to attempt, so we want to try to fix that as quickly as possible. So we need that access to your environment, right? So that right there is, truly what makes us different. And this next slide I'm going to show you kind of breaks down the MDR a little bit more because, guys, obviously I'd love for, all of your customers and all of our partners to start with that Xcitium Advanced because it's safe, right? It's a nice price point to enter on. But the big differentiator, guys, is that everyone should be interested in MDR, and everyone should at least have an opportunity to make their professional decision on whether they should go with just an endpoint solution or if they should go for those full-fledged managed solutions, right? So again, I'm going to be a little repetitive here, but when it comes to the MDR packages, these are the things that we are guaranteeing you, right? We're giving you that full visibility in your network, right? We're from the SOC aspect, we're giving you that 24/7 protection. We're giving you that true incident response and forensic analysis, and we can give you those reports based on weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, whatever you need, right, for your compliance issues. We have our own SIM. We don't have to have third-party applications and tools to make our product work. We just install our agents on your endpoints, and it's just as simple as that, right? Especially for the MSPs of the world, right? We are a platform built for MSPs. We have all those tools that they need because we have a sister company that our founder owns, which is an MSP company. And those are the tools that we use, and those are the tools that are embedded in our platform. And also, you're getting that true real-time response. Our response time in most cases is in less than an hour, right? I'm talking. Obviously, we don't have to worry about the remediation per se, right? Because there's no damage, but we're just building those reports and we send you that report usually within an hour. It's a pretty nice turn of events. It's a little bit different rather than, oh my gosh, what do I have to do? The building's on fire. We're getting breached. How do we stop it? Right. And then sometimes those other MDR vendors of the world, they still take a couple hours to get back to you. Right. And that sometimes is the worst, or the support and all the things, right? That's the differentiator between us, is that our technology does so much of the heavy lifting. So we're really solving that problem through technology and innovation, not trying to throw people at the problem. And that makes it a little bit more expensive too. It's throwing all those people, they have hefty salaries. So now just a little bit to talk about kind of who we are. I've said a little bit of this over the last 40 minutes or so, but we have over 5,000 customers. I think we're actually almost about to hit 6,000, probably hit 6,000, hopefully by the end of the quarter. We're on a couple million endpoints, but the big number that we like to see there, guys, is 0 breaches or ransoms to date. And at the end of the day, we do what we promise, is that we protect you and we keep you safe. And we do that while not hindering your user productivity, not consuming a bunch of resources and bogging down your system. We just do it by simply tricking them out with this really cool technology that we have. And obviously throughout the years, we've gotten a bunch of great awards, a lot through AV Lab, AV Test, some of the Channel Co. We're in massive talks right now with Gartner, trying to get in that fun MQ. And that's kind of our last box that we're ready to check. But as you guys know, that's an expensive place to play in, right? It's a true pay to play space with Gartner. And then the next, some of the biggest customers that we have, guys, these are some of the ones that we love to show. Is like, obviously everyone knows who UPS is, everyone knows who Shell, the oil company, is. One of the ones on my favorite, or at the bottom, one of my favorite customers is the state of Utah. We cover one of the massive, a nice big sized state in the United States. And then a few others that you see, like Jimmy John's, a big sandwich shop, and then some of the great partners and things that we have in the region. So really, that's kind of what I have for now. I would really love to kind of open it up to some questions. Please ask away, guys. We have some time left, and I'd love to continue. Is my screen still sharing mode? I can't tell.
No, it's not sharing. Okay. And as I see you raise your hand. Do you want to ask a question, or do you want to talk to Ryan? I can allow you to talk if you want to. we only have 27 people, so we can allow people to talk. Do you still want to ask a question, or I think that is approximate cost for an end-to-end solution. We call it the defense in depth, where you get the zero-threat technology from Xcitium, and then you get for your endpoint, you get with that the next generation antivirus, a host-based firewall, host-based IPS, host-based file verdicting system, host-based URL filtering, host-based DLP for your not full-fledged DLP, and then you get a cloud-based management platform that allows you to do patch management, that allows you to do patch management, vulnerability assessment for Windows devices with a workaround for Mac devices, and then you do MDM, like a full MDM, so you can remote into devices and users, even if they're not thousands of miles away from you. And you can also install software without engaging with your end user or the user himself. You can uninstall software, enforce policy, so a full MDM functionality. This is called defense in depth. The whole thing is what Ryan has shown under the name of Xcitium Advanced. And then you get to the services on top of that. So Xcitium Advanced comes with the innovative technology, the patent technology called ZeroThreat, that prevents a problem, prevents an attack. So, and if we use the industry jargon today, they say protect, they refer to next generation antivirus, and they say detect, and they refer to EDR. That's pre-execution of malware, and this is post-execution of malware. With Xcitium, we're adding a third protection platform that we call prevent. So any unknown, we can isolate it. If it tries to cause harm, we just wipe it out. So at T equals 0. And thanks to Xcitium, today the whole industry is talking about real-time security. I've seen even people talking about their services that IRs call, I think CrowdStrike calls it real-time IR service, and I don't know how you get a real-time security from a human being, like in 0 seconds. I don't know how Ryan can respond to my call in 0 seconds. But anyways, so thanks to Xcitium, now it has the first zero trust because of the technology that Ryan has mentioned. It's zero dwell containment, and it has real-time security because it fixes the problem exactly as it happens. So that's Xcitium Advanced, and this is sold per endpoint. For pricing, please reach out to us by email because we are the distributor. Ryan is the technology vendor. We are the distributor covering Middle East and Africa, and we work through local resellers in every country. We will be able to send you prices. What I promise you is the dollar value, the return on investment compared to the value you get is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. And again, thanks to the innovation they have with their zero-threat technology. Zero trust plus real-time security. It's making their job easier compared to a CrowdStrike professional services SOC team. Their job is harder because they don't have this innovation that's called zero trust plus real-time security. So I think there's anonymous attendees asking for like about 300 to 500 users. We will blow your mind off when you see the prices. We have in the region something called rip and replace. So we're going aggressive in the region, the Middle East and Africa, because Xcitium went out the US only last year. So they went out to Europe, to APAC and South America. Now the focus is on the Middle East and Africa, and we are enjoying this amazing program, which is called Rip and Replace, that gives you humongous discounts. If you rip your existing endpoint protection, throw it away and replace it with Xcitium, and you get all of these amazing technologies. Pre-execution at T equals 0, which no one else has, and post-execution. You get them all, and if you get the MDR, please share your email or send us email to me or to one of my colleagues. I'll share my email in the chat anyways, and my colleagues can reach out to you. Send us email. We will send you quotation, 4 options: advanced, MDR, and XDR. If you want to do only the licenses, you get the deployment, and you manage it. That's up to you. Or if you want 24/7 eyes on glass from Xcitium professional services team on top of their technology, that's MDR. Or if you want also to look at the network traffic and the cloud traffic, and you have sensors in your network to look at that traffic and extend your protection, then we're ready with the XDR offering. We call it complete, Xcitium Complete. So Xcitium Advanced, Xcitium Managed, and Xcitium Complete, which is the XDR. Please come back to us by email. I'll share my email with everyone now, but also you can reach my colleagues in the business development team.
And then just to piggyback on what Maud said there too, whoever my friend anonymous attendee might be, my unknown friend that would get caught in containment, but I'd just like to say too, just to think about those tools that I was mentioning, right? So like a lot of those companies, you know, especially like the SentinelOnes of the world, they have so many, like they have that basic package, and then they have all the little things that you can add on. First, that they're truly trying to nickel and dime you. The second thing is think about all the tools that you have to operate, just to operate, right? You have to have patch management. You have to have a ticketing system in this case. You have to have an RMM tool, right? We're taking all three of those and consolidating it inside with the AV and the EDR licenses. And we're still, in most cases, lower or just very competitive inside the space, even when it just comes to just normal endpoint protection, and you're getting that extra layer that no one else has, right? So that's sometimes it's you know, we have those, you know, those normal sales conversations of, oh well, so and so can do it cheaper, right? But the difference is if you compare us apples to apples, packages to packages, we will win that comparison every time. I can truly say it's like I very rarely do we lose a deal on price, right? It's usually just bad timing. That's in budget, right? And sometimes that's just the things that we can't control and that almost no one can control, right? But like I said, it's one of those things that we obviously have those options, and since all the technology is ours, we're able to be a little bit more reasonable on a lot of the prices. So I think that's what, hopefully, obviously we can't answer that question live because it's just dependent on the region, right? But those are the things that make us different. We're not trying to build that Frankenstein solution and hoping all those tools that you're buying licenses for work together, right? You're buying one, you know, unified solution that can check most of your boxes in the cybersecurity space.
Just one more thing to add to that. You know, we're talking a lot about pricing, which, you know, I think we've proven in many occasions that we are extremely competitive. But one thing to note, and this is actually a big criteria for Distilogics whenever we choose to work with vendors, is that they be very supportive and provide excellent service to our customers. And this is an area where, you know, where Xcitium excels and does an extremely good job. So, you know, it's not just price, it's also, you know, getting that level of comfort and support. And when it's 100% protection, you know, I don't think there's, you know, anything that, you know, one could complain about. So for sure, you know, do reach out to us and, you know, let us know if you know, the specific questions to your environment. And I think in the process of discussing things with us, you know, it's the best way to test, you know, this, the ability for us to support you and to provide, you know, excellent service and get to know the Xcitium team a little bit better, as well as Distilogics.
And we're ready to support you with POCs like instantly. Like if you need a POC tomorrow, we're ready for that. And that's what gets you like to feel the product and see it in action and see containment and see everything. And believe me, everywhere we put a POC, we detected a malware that was not detected by the endpoint protection tool. I was just, when Ryan was talking, I replied to one of my customers, and they had a problem. It's not because we detect, we don't care about detection. It's because of containment, of the prevention. And he just said me, there is something that is in containment, and someone is trying to create a password on my server. I said, you see, don't worry. Just keep looking at it for a day. It's contained. Let him do whatever he wants to do. It might be a simple application you installed, or it might be someone who's trying to set that stage for a huge attack. That's something that no one else can do. So please reach out to us whenever you need. Would like to support you. Xcitium's team has supported the region, the Middle East and Africa, big time. Ryan is today in Dubai, and he met customers in person, and he has done lots of trainings, done lots of technical trainings, and done lots of POCs, and we've gone slow to make sure that we educate our customers about the POC and the value and everything. We're happy to support you guys. Let's connect to your customers. If we don't blow their minds off, kick us out of the meeting. I'm that confident. Okay.
Sometimes I like to just say, if you don't believe us, let us prove you wrong.
Yeah, we will prove you wrong. Simple as that. Simple POC. 2 sessions, and we'll prove you wrong.
Exactly.
Simple as that. And some of the attendees here, they've done a POC with that. Not like I think 2 or 3 of them, they've done POC, and they know exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Great. Any more questions?
Feel free to fire away, guys. We have a few more minutes, and I love answering questions. I don't like to talk in my normal spiel, right? Like I don't like to engage and try to ask me those minute hard questions, right?
Great. So there are no more questions, guys. Thank you again for joining us. It's only good because of you. When you join, you make our day. Thank you so much.